So let's look at what's wrong. Like why do we fail at jiu-jitsu? I think the most common issue is that we have no real way of knowing like whether we're getting better or not. Right in the beginning, we are learning a bunch of moves, and so it's pretty clear. Like, okay, I'm making progress, right? I know something that I didn't know yesterday. But once we get a little deeper into it, then it starts to get confusing and frustrating. Like, all we're testing ourselves against, really, if we're honest, is whether or not we are winning that day. And that's a really variable target. Like, sometimes you're having a bad day and the other person's having a good day. And then you flip that another day and who wins changes. And that has nothing to do with whether or not we actually got better at jiu-jitsu. We're just like feeling good that day. Testing yourself, like, did I win, is not an objective measure of whether you're making progress. Trying to simplify it, like boil it down to its essence, there's really just a few things that we can measure every single time we train and see if we are progressing or not. And so you could think of these as your sort of best possible roll score, right? So the higher your number of these things, the better you're doing at jiu-jitsu. Are you trying new techniques and learning something new, learning a different approach to the movement that you haven't experimented with before? Even if you're at a high level, it's important to like try new things. More important is refining. So all skills become unconscious, right? Just like we don't think about riding a bike. If we've done enough Kimuras, we rarely think about how we're doing it. Refining is doing a rep with a high level of focus and attention, ideally against some resistance. Next is move, right? So this is the missing piece for most people, I think, when they're new, is they'll try something, but then it doesn't work, and then they try something else and it still doesn't work. And what's wrong there is their position. So move really specifically means move the center of your body. Move it on the ground, like move to a different spot on the ground, roll it from side to side, move it over on top of the other person. If you're already on top, move to a different angle on top of the other person. So how many times are you moving? And anytime you have a significant center mass movement, that would be a point towards your best roll score. Disrupting. Anytime you can efficiently off balance the other person, make them stumble, make them overreach without spending a whole lot of energy yourself. Anytime you can do that, that's another point, because those are how we create opportunities in jiu-jitsu, especially against a skilled opponent. And then the final one is a moment of perfect timing. And timing we define as you moved exactly when they moved, not before or after. So their body was busy doing something and you responded while it was still busy, right? So it's an answer to what they did while they're busy doing something else. And that's when you're going to have, it's basically an undefended target, right? So you're able to get a little bit ahead there. And timing is definitely a super skill. Like if you look at the difference between a purple belt and a black belt, it's not so much technique. Like the purple belt's probably got plenty of technique, but their timing, their movement, their off balancing, all of those are operating at a different level. That's the way to measure your progress and sort of score yourself on a roll. And this also like really helps if you're rolling against somebody who's much better than you or like really big and you haven't like solved for that yet. And you can do your absolute best and measure whether you're making progress, regardless of whether you tap or not. Really, truly measure something that's objective and tested. And that's super important. So then like if I'm rolling against the black belt and I tap out, but I had like 3 good center mass movements and I off balanced them once and I tried 5 things. Cool, there's my score, right? And then the next time I try to level that up just a point or two. And that, if I can see a consistent trend up with that, now I know that I'm progressing in my jiu-jitsu. I can also use it to find my weak spot. If I'm doing a lot of movement, a lot of trying, a lot of refining, but I never off balance the other person, there's something that I should develop. Or I never really look for moments of timing, there's something that I should develop. I hope this was helpful, and enjoy your time on the mat.